this tutorial I want to talk about how to pick your colors. Actually, picking colors have a lot to do with lighting too. But in general, I will give a few simple rule of thumb. Is first, when you plan a composition, you can either go easy and plan just the value first, which in this case I did, is gray, black and white, and that's tended to be easiest. Then later on, I layered one simple color, which is blue. Then I proceed with more details and variation, doing highlights and stuff like that. In this composition, what I wanted to stand out is this two main characters in the front, the couple, Jeremy and Rose. And spoiler alert. Anyway, so I have his skin color really saturated, and because the rest of his clothing are pretty dark. So I threw in a little bit of the bright purple to bring more attention and saturation to him. And then this Rose. Of course, Rose might actually be the first one to stand out here. That's fine. I don't really care who stand out first to who on this canvas, as long as it's both of them. So I gave her really warm colors, and the red brown is very warm and pretty saturated. And her pink hair, however, is not the most saturated thing. But pink itself is a pretty strong and saturated colors. Then the rest of them, like Max and his future girlfriend, spoiler alert, and they are more retreated. See the more muted colors on them. The important part is actually not just picking the hero of your story. Colors kind of tell stories too, right? So you have to plan colors like you are planning a story. The colors have hero colors and the supportive colors. That's how I see it. It's easier that way. Like our brains love stories, So the hero color in this case, obviously, is on this tube. I picked for Rose, which is more on the warm side, like her pink hair. It's actually her hero color. And so her hero color is actually pink. And then the red brown is supporting that, is the supporting color. And then, of course, her skin. And for her green eyes, the green on the eyes, I did make it pretty saturated because I want that feature to be very clear. And for Jeremy, his most saturated colors is his skin, which is what most anime use really, and his eyes. If you can't use the skin to be saturated, then you use the eyes, okay? Yeah. So yeah. And actually, I learned this from painting class, that every color has different saturation, most saturated point. On the computer it's easy. On the computer you can just find the most saturated color by pulling to the end. That's easier. But darker blue, like around mid blue, is actually very saturated. It's up against black, so you don't really feel it, but this blue is actually quite saturated. I picked a very saturated blue for him. And then of course the reflective purple. Purple actually calls for a lot of attention because it has red in it, and it's one of the most saturated, the secondary color. This is why animes like to use it. Even if our real life we don't see that many purple, if you use purple and the very saturated blue, your composition automatically looks for more full, more dreamy in a sense. Yeah. The rest of them I used a more dull grayish blue. The dragon is the next thing that I want to catch attention. So it's 1, 2, and 3. That's why this red dragon is, because it's the rival in the story. So I gave it a little bit more saturated red. But I might dull it down later. But this is the base of what I started with. I'm giving it a more poppy red, even though it's kind of a dark red, but I keep it very saturated. Like you can see it's way down here, but it's on the most saturated side. I don't use warm and cool colors from some of the painters. They like to use those terminology, but it's really confusing once you start reaching to the middle, which is the neutral colors, when they try to determine neutral colors being warm or cool, like a brown, you know, or gray. Which gray is cooler? Which gray is warmer? Oh my God, no. Yeah, off with that confusion. I know there is an upside in terms of thinking like that. However, that's just very confusing for a lot of beginners and intermediate artists. So I like to stick to more digital terminology, which is the saturation and the value. The value is easy. Value is white to black, you know, bright, brightness, contrast. That's it. So generally, if you get the value right on your painting, you can pretty much control what you want to stand out first in most cases. Then color is just helping it, really. So yeah, just to give you a few more examples here. Yes, keep in mind lights, right? In this scene, I picked it's a morning scene, so I picked a very bright yellow light, and the character in this case, yeah, this is the previous page. I want the character to, the top panel, I want this panel to pop first, so obviously I have the characters more yellow over here, and the background, well, the colors of the green, teal, and even the yellows here are softer, less intense, to let them retreat, you know. And green can pop really, really strongly if you add a lot of yellow to it. Yeah, so here, see, Jeremy's actually got the strongest yellow in this scene. Then even though Mosa's out front and bigger on the composition, normally if you look at the line art, that's Mosa's going to pop first. But with colors, the muted colors that I did, he is very much close to the center of attention, but he is retreating. I hope you kind of get the gist of it. Colors can do wonders. And here, this is a very simple sketch illustration that I did for like a while ago. I wanted my own blue archer from Faith series. So here it is. There is for the first thing I wanted to pop is of course his face. So strongest contrast over here, and the most saturated color on his face and hair. You see, like, even though his skin is the same color, over here I did use more shadow, darker shadows. You can use gradient in the shadows to kind of make something retreat. What's more important is, what do you plan to have pop and what do you plan to have it retreat in your color planning? So if you want something to retreat, darker, duller. If you want something to pop, brighter, more saturation. That's pretty simple, right? But make sure that your composition don't have too many heroes. When there's too many hero colors, like too many main focus, it becomes chaotic and very hard for the eyes to focus on something. Our eyes like to have one central location. So you have to plan according to that. the human eye's preference is not going to change. One central location and then flow to the rest. And I hope this is clear enough as a tutorial. Honestly, you can pick hero color being neon green, being purple, being, oh, actually I have a purple hero color piece somewhere. Let's see. These are here. Oops. There we go. This one actually started with purple base, and this is where you do go wild. Yeah. So, okay, there is a trick on color planning too, on this kind of more abstract color scene, is that if the value matches, it doesn't matter what color it is. If the value matches on the scene, you can switch it whatever color you want. But the best joining color, best color for bridges, for like bridging different color family, like the warm and the cool, is purple and green. Purple, green, and brown are the perfect colors to be in between all the bright colors. So if you want to go wild with a piece like this, I should do it more often. With a piece like this, definitely plan with your the color that takes the biggest area first, which in this case is purple. And I dull some areas like in the hair, so it retreats back, and then other areas with a highlight I did very bright colors like the yellows and the bright blue and bright oranges. You know, yellow go first, orange second, red third. You know, like it's going by the value. There's value in this piece. Yeah, have fun and go wild, I guess. Like, let loose once in a while, you know. I probably should do it more often. Yeah. So that concludes my lesson for today. I hope it's clear. Leave me comments below if you want me to cover other things and if I can explain something better. Thank you for watching, and have fun picking your colors.